You're listening to the No Limits Map the Triathlon podcast. This is episode number 93. 93. We're getting closer and closer to 100. Hey, this episode is all about, so you've signed up for your Ironman, now what? I think it should be interesting, so stick around. Hi, I'm Todd Malcolm, and I've been in the sport of triathlon for over 25 years. I'm head coach of a triathlon group you've probably never heard of. We don't train all the time, and we don't have goals to win races. In fact, our motivation is the exact opposite. We train for triathlons in addition to living busy lives with the goal of staying in shape and challenging ourselves in this amazing sport of triathlon. We are triathletes with no limits, and this is your map to triathlon. Well, welcome. Welcome to a brand new year. This is episode number 93. In this video, or in this podcast, I'm going to talk about what's going on in my world right now. And, you know, you've signed up for an Ironman, and now what? If this is your first time listening to me, my name is Todd Malcolm, Coach Todd. I've been doing triathlon since 92, a long time. This year, 2022, it's going to be a good year. I'm just going to pull up on my computer here to show you what's going on in my world. Now let's see, where do I have these things listed? So if this is your first year doing an Ironman, there's a lot of things to think about. I mean, it's a gigantic task. For me, I want to show you or tell you what I'm doing. I'm doing 3 iron distance events this year. I'm doing the World Championships in St. George in early May, then off to Germany for Challenge Roth, Ironman Mont Tremblant in August. So those are my 3 iron distance events. Maybe you're doing one of those. If you are, please say hi. The 7.3s I'm doing, Hawaii 7.3, Calgary 7.3, Washington 7.3, and St. George 7.3 World Championships. It's a lot. When I look at that, I go, wow, it's a lot. But I also go, wow, that's going to be like an amazing year. Like, it's going to be so much fun. And I'm really truly looking forward to it. So when I look at a schedule like that, there's a lot of things that go through my mind. And what I want to do in this episode, this video, is to kind of walk you through some of the things that I do and I know that work well when you are just signing up for your first Ironman. I just want to get back to my page here so that I can be on the same page as everyone else. Okay, now the first thing, after you sign up for your 7.3 or Ironman is may not be what you think it is. It may not be what you think it is. So I signed up for, let's see, the first race that I signed up for was, it's tricky because some of these races I've been signed up since 2019, and because of what's happening in the world, they get pushed to the next year. So I'm going to talk about the one that I just signed up for. Well, the one that's most memorable to me that I signed up for was the World Championships in St. George. So that was the Ironman that I signed up for. Now, what's the first thing? So if you've signed up for your first Ironman, you're like, okay, Todd, what's the first thing I should be doing? Just get on with it. And this is what I do. So I signed up, I had to travel home, and then what I did was I went online and I booked my accommodations. Yeah, so you can either book through get a hotel, or you can do like an Airbnb where someone's renting out their house. I prefer that. You know what? I rarely will stay in a hotel these days. I go to like VRBO or Airbnb or a service like that. And even I find like on Expedia, not only do they have hotels, but they also have houses and things that are being rented. So that type of rental options are getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, I prefer like renting a condo or a house for an Ironman. So you want to do that soon, because I find that when a lot of people sign up for their races, they want to have that prime, that primo location that's close to everything, or close to the finish line, or something that's really, not too difficult to get to the start line or get back to your place after the race, which is tricky if you've never done that race before. So what I suggest you do, if it's your very first time doing that race, is talk to someone and say, hey, where's the best location to be looking to rent a place? And then put your deposit down now so you have a place secured for your race. No kidding. And so the other race that I'm really excited about is Ironman Mont Tremblant. That one opened up for registration maybe 2 months ago, and I got caught up in the hype. And before you know it, I've got my fingers typing on the keyboard, and I signed myself up for another Ironman. I'm like, what did you just do? I know, but I did. So then I'm like, okay, I need accommodations. Some athletes are coming with me. I'm like, hey, do you want to share a condo? Yes. Okay, so what do you think of this place? Yeah, that looks good. Money down, deposits down, and that is one less stress that we have to worry about. And once the accommodations are taken care of, if you are like for me to go from Calgary, where I'm located, to go to Montreal, I'm not going to drive. I'm going to fly. You could book your flight now if you know the dates. For me, I'm still not quite sure the dates I want to travel, so I'm holding back on that. But I have an idea of when I'm going to be there. And so what I've done is I've booked my vehicle. I find that booking or renting these cars and vans or SUVs or whatever you're going to rent, they get picked up lickety split, and the cost can go higher and higher and higher. So I book like a year out. If the service will allow you to book a year out, I do it, because oftentimes you can get the lowest price for that rental. Now you might be thinking, Todd, why are you telling me this? I'm telling you this because Ironman triathlon is not a cheap sport, right? Hands up, you guys agree with me? Yes. So if we can save money by booking accommodations earlier, getting your flights early, booking the cars and the vehicles early, you can save hundreds of dollars. You really can. If you can team up with people, you may be saving yourself maybe $1,000. You really could be. And I do. My car is booked for Mont Tremblant already. And it was funny when I booked it, I go, oh, that's a good price. Book. And when I book, I generally pick a rental agency that says, look, there's no cancellation fees. That's what I'm trying to get at. So if you cancel before a certain date, there's no problem. And I put zero money down. I put zero money down for the car. You have to put money down generally most of the time for like an Airbnb or VRBO. Hotels sometimes, right? But yeah, with the car, I don't put a deposit down, but I have that price secured. And if I need to cancel it, I will cancel it. And this is a trick that I do. A trick that I do to make my cars cheaper is I book whatever's available right now. If I'm going by myself, I like an SUV. I get a big bike box. It's gigantic. It takes up a chunk of the back. So I need an SUV. I'll book it. I'll go for the dates, and then I will book it, and I will keep checking. I will just copy the link from Expedia, and every few days during the week, I'll just click that link and see if there's a cheaper price. And if there's a cheaper price, I will cancel the previous booking and take that new one. And again, by doing this, you can save yourself hundreds of dollars. I mean, you really can. And like if that's not a problem for you, then just book your vehicle, and then away you go. You don't have to worry about it. But seriously, after I sign up for a triathlon, that's where my brain goes to is, okay, I need a place to stay, I need my flight, and I need my my vehicle to get around. And I will also try to recruit as many people as I can to come with me. Hey, come on, let's do this race. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Yeah, and Ironman's going to be fun. It is. Come on, let's have some fun. Now, but that is the first thing that I do. Now, when I'm thinking about my races in St. George, I have not booked vehicles or flights, but I have accommodations booked for the first Ironman that's in May because I want to see if that works out. Because if that one works out and it's Airbnb, I'll book that again for the 70.3 World Championships. But I might drive down because I'm not crazy far away. I think it's a 2-day drive. I'm considering driving down. I think it could be kind of fun. I like having my own car sometimes, and so if I can drive down, I don't have to worry about booking a car and flying and all that kind of stuff. And I do. I like to drive and I like to sightsee and explore and make videos for you guys. But yeah, no. After you sign up for the race, so you've got that taken care of. The next thing you need to think about is, and this may take you a long time to do. For me, because this will be my, St. George will be my 18th Ironman. I can get into the mental state of, okay, I am doing an Ironman pretty quick. I can just kind of flick a switch. I know what I have to do and what I have to do mentally and physically. I can do that. But I'm going to tell you, if it's your first year training for a 70.3 or an Ironman, there's a ton of questions. There's a lot of self-doubt whether you can do it. And so the initial stages of after you sign up for the race it's almost like convincing yourself you can do it, right? Because you may not be able to swim the distance or bike the distance or run the distance yet. And you go, I'm not quite sure if I can do it. My first Ironman was back in 1997. It was Ironman Canada in Penticton. And I remember that I would have all these stepping stones that I had to complete in order to convince myself, okay, I think you can do it. I think you can do it. And even up to the week leading to the Ironman, I'm not quite sure if I can do it. I don't know, but I think I can do it. You get to a point where it's ready or not. So this stage, this part where you're at after you sign up, you're trying to get yourself mentally and physically ready to do this race. And it can take a long time. Now, for me, the time of this recording, it's January 20th. So we're coming into 3 weeks of the new year. My first 3 weeks of this year have not gone as planned. My family was sick right at the new year. I fell skiing and I hurt my ribs, so I couldn't exercise. So being injured and being sick just knocked me out. And so those first 3 weeks have been doing nothing. So I'm slowly getting back into the groove, which is nice because I'm going to tell you, there's a part of you that when you are at a commission and you can't do it, you start to question, oh man, am I even able to get myself ready to do this race? My first race is early May. So we're almost through January. I'll be February, March, April. That's 3 months to get ready for an Ironman. Is that possible? Can I do it? And we all have these voices in our heads. Sometimes the self-doubt takes over. Right? Oh, you can't do that. You should just pull out. You don't have enough time. Look at the shape you're in. I like to silence those voices and go, no, I can do this. Look, you've done this many times. You can do it. And that's why I encourage you guys to sign up for a program, sign up for a coach, get some training partners, people that have experience in doing what you want to do. They can help you because you're going to get to some points where you go, I don't know. I just don't know what I'm doing anymore. And that's why it's really important to have someone that you can ask, hey, what do you think of this? Am I doing this the right way? What about this question? How do I do this? How do I do that? And if you have someone to bounce the questions off and get some answers, it is really wonderful. I know that when I did my first Ironman, I didn't have anybody like that. The world's changed a ton since 1997. It's changed crazy. And so now I'm surrounded by Ironman athletes. But back then, no, there wasn't that many. But I did put myself in a swimming group where there were a handful of other athletes that had done the Ironman before. And what I would do, I would ask them, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And in the run class that I was in, I would ask the Ironman athletes too. I want their advice because that helps you know that you're on the right track. So getting on the right track. Some other things that you're going to need to do. Now, I don't want to keep this podcast too long, for sure. I want to keep it relatively tight, but I also want to give you some really good information. I'm going to talk about my experience, like where I am at right now, and so that you could kind of follow along with what I am doing. This has been my first week fully back training, and it feels amazing. Not to be injured, not to be sick. It feels just fantastic. I love this feeling, and I always tell my wife, look, I am like the worst sick person, worst sick person. And when I'm sick and injured, it's like a double whammy. It's not good. So I am much better. I'm much happier when I'm healthy and not sick. So this week, let's see if I can show you. I have an orange notebook here that I just picked up, and inside it, I put a title on the top, and I call it Athletes. This is where I put all of my athletes in a notebook, and so when I'm doing their workouts, I just turn to their page and I go, hey, how are they doing? And what's cool about this is my book of athletes. I put myself in here. I do. Generally, I always plan myself last, but I'm in there. So here I've opened up the page to my page, Todd Malcolm, and what I have on here is not a lot because I've just started. But what I have at the top is super important, and I highly encourage you to do this if you haven't done it yet. And this is my weekly training schedule. Now, whenever I do that, whenever I create that for myself for one of my athletes, I always do it in pencil. I do it in pencil because it's a reminder that this is not set in stone, and if something happens, we can just erase it and then move things around, right? And that's really important. So this is my week schedule, and I'm going to tell you what I am doing, and I'm going to tell you if you are a brand new athlete just doing an Ironman, you're like, Todd, how many times should I swim? How many times should I bike, etc., etc. I'm going to tell you. And I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. I've already told you in the beginning of this session that I have a lot of stuff coming up, right? So I've got 3 Ironman distance races, and I think it's 4 7.3. It's a lot, and I'll be doing some virtual races in there as well. So I got a lot of stuff on my plate. I think when I start in April, I have like an event or a trip happening every month from April on, and it's wonderful. Like, I think it's awesome. So I want you to, if you have not created your weekly training schedule yet, get out a notebook. I highly recommend everyone to get a notebook, and I do. I've got notebooks all over the place. Here's a notebook that I use on a weekly basis. It's my gray notebook, and I use it to put in notes, right? How is my training going? How is my life going? You know, am I on track? What do I need to change? It's nice to have a place to write it down. I know that we have these, phones and iPads and computers and such, but there's something to be said about getting a pen or pencil out and putting that to paper. It's just a little bit different, and I think it's better. That's my opinion. I like it a little bit better. So you've just signed up for Ironman. How many times should you swim? Now I'm going to talk to you about my ideal world. If you have an ideal world, this is what I would want you to do. Now look, not many people live in an ideal world. Mine is not ideal, although it's pretty good. But a lot of people do not live in this, and this is taking me a long time to get to this spot, right? Like my kids right now, they're out of school, so I have more time to play with. I have more time to do stuff, right? If you have a very young family, you probably cannot do as much as I'm doing, and that's totally okay. But you do need to create your weekly training schedule. So let's get going, Todd. What is it going to be? For swimming, if you have an ideal world, I would like you to swim 3 times a week. For biking, I want you to bike 3 times a week. For running, I want you to run 3 times a week. I'd like you to do weights twice a week. And this is something that I picked up in 2021. I'm like, what year are we in? 2021. Yoga. I like it. I would like you to add yoga that increases your flexibility. It helps you calm down, and it's a really nice, relaxing workout. And I think a lot of triathletes don't stretch enough, are not flexible. So having yoga helps a lot. So if you could do yoga twice a week, that would be wonderful. Now, if you can't do this, then you start, okay, I can't do 3, but I can do 2. I can't do 3 of those, but I can do 1. And then you start chopping away at what you can do, and you look at the week schedule. So you go Monday to Sunday and find out when can you do all these workouts, right? So for what I've done on Monday, I'm swimming. I'll tell you when I'm going to swim. I'm going to swim on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I used to coach a swim program, a noon hour, and we'd always go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I thought that worked out great. I like to give 3 types of workouts. It doesn't matter what sport you're doing. It's 3 types of workouts. One is easy or technique based. The second one is like speed, or I call it variety. So like speed, hills, intervals, things like that. So you're changing up the pace. That's the second type of workout, or variety. And the third one is a long workout. So you're working on your endurance. So we have technique, number 1. Number 2 is a variety of things. Number 3 is long endurance. So for swimming, the first workout would be like on the Monday would be technique. On Wednesday, I would do speed. And then on Friday, I would do endurance. Okay. Now, the caveat here is because I live in Calgary, we are in the wintertime, January right now. I love to ski. And one of these days, I'm going skiing. Now, so if you have something like that, or you miss a workout because you get busy at work and you can't train, what I highly recommend you to do, and this happened to me yesterday because I went skiing yesterday, I normally have a swim and a bike planned on Wednesday. But because I went skiing, I missed those 2 workouts. So what do you do when you miss those 2 workouts? This is what I suggest you do. Forget about them. I said that. Forget about them. Don't take them and then move them to another day. Forget about it and keep moving on with your schedule. So I went skiing yesterday. I missed my swim, missed my bike. And then today I go, what am I doing today? I'm doing a run. And I stuck to the plan. Biking 3 times a week. Again, you have a easier technique based, not too hard. You have a speed based workout, so you're working hard. And then the third one is going long. Same idea with running. And you put those into your week schedule. Now, a lot of people will ask me, well, what about the order? What order should this be in, Todd? Should it be swim, bike, run? Of course it should be swim, bike. Of course it should be swim, bike, run. We train for a triathlon, and that's the order. So if you can in your week, like if you're doing 2 workouts in a day, and you always go in the order of swim and then bike and then run. However, that's an ideal world. Like I said, not many people live in an ideal world. So say if your swim time is at 12 noon, right? And you're so busy after the day, you can't fit in your bike, but you can fit in the bike in the morning. Well, then bike in the morning and then swim at noon, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So you need to be flexible with your schedule based on the availability of swimming or your time to work out. So don't get so fixed. I find some people get so fixed and so rigid that they can't move. So I like to have swim, bike, run in that order, only if you can. If you can't, it's okay. All right. The other thing that makes this week's schedule fun is ask yourself, are you in any classes right now that you've signed up for? You put yourself on those days. Like for me, I'm coaching tonight. So I put, swimming. I'm at the pool every Thursday. Saturdays, we do online brick class. So Saturdays is my brick class. Those 2 days are already done. Do you have any training partners that you like to train with? You might say, hey, I like to, run with Kent every Monday. Kent and I, we run. I'm not saying that we do, but say if we did, I would put my run on the Mondays. So be flexible and when you can do stuff. Now, once you have this this weekly schedule created, I want you to share it with your workplace. Say, hey, look, I'm training for an Ironman. Yeah, I know I'm crazy, but that's who I am. This is when I'm training. Okay. So you'll know that when I'm not in the office, I'm not at home, I am doing, swimming, biking, or running. It's nice just to be open with everybody and saying, this is where I'm at. Because it gets to a point where they might go, where the heck is Todd? I thought he's supposed to be here. Oh, no, today's Wednesday, remember? On Wednesdays, he swims. Right, he's at swimming. So let your work know, let your family know, let your friends know, let your significant other know what you are doing. Otherwise, it gets a little weird, right? And so it's a very selfish sport. And so please tell people what you are doing. And then once you have this out, you can print it off, put it on the fridge. So not only do you know, you can see it every day, but your family, your friends, whoever is, around you can see it as well. They know what you're doing. And that way they can even encourage you. Hey, how'd your swim go today? I see you got to run today. How's that going to go? What are you going to do today? So it's very, it can be very powerful. And just by having this, I want you to say, okay, I'm committed to this. You've dropped the money down to sign up for an event. Commit to your training. Now, not every week it's going to be fantastic. I get it. Like, the first 3 weeks of this month, not so good for me. But if you can be flexible, keep going with the flow, then we can get through it. So this video, this podcast, was all about, you've just signed up for your Ironman. Now what do you do? So just to recap, the first thing I want you to do, the first thing I do when I sign up for an Ironman is I look for accommodations. I look for flights. And I look for booking that vehicle, because a long time out from the race, if you can do it a long time out, there's a good chance you're going to get the deals and cheaper bookings. And then the next thing I want you got to get your head wrapped around you're doing it. So you need to say, yes, I'm committed to doing this event. I've signed up for it. I'm committed to it. And it might take you a year, but just say to yourself, I'm committed. I'm going to do it. And then create your weekly training schedule. So you know what you're doing every day. And yes, some of our days are going to change, but generally, and this is if you have like a fixed week schedule. I have a few athletes who have crazy jobs. Like, I would love to share with you what some of my athletes do, but some of it's top secret, and I can't. Like, I got a text from an athlete today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's happening. I had no idea. But I can't share that. Top secret. I get off track. So if you have a job that does not have a fixed schedule, it changes, then you need to almost every week create your weekly training schedule and figure out what days you're going to swim, what days you're going to bike, and what days you're going to run. And typically you do that on a Sunday or on a Monday, or depending on how your schedule is. But you have to be flexible with your schedule. Okay, that's it. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video today, this podcast, and I look forward to chatting with you next time. The dog is barking. Someone must be home. I'm Coach Todd. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye. Hey, are you training for an Ironman or 7.3 this year? Perhaps this is your first or second one. You want some free tips? I've compiled tips from athletes all over the world. I asked them to share their one tip with brand new Ironman athletes. I was overwhelmed with hundreds of responses. I took the most common tips and put them together in a brand new ebook. To grab your free copy, please visit 101trainingtips.com. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to our next podcast together. If you have any questions, please send me a note. You can contact me at Instagram at NoLimitsCoach, Facebook at NoLimitsTry, and my website, NoLimitsTriathlon.com. Happy training, and we'll talk soon.